Hi, take a
How are you?
good. How are you today?
Good. Greta?
Yes, Greta.
There you go. Oh, yes. I see your name even on. Oh, good. Well, where are you?
I'm in Chicago right now, actually.
Right. I asked because I thought, well, you could be anywhere, even though we're discussing the New Orleans Film Festival. But is that home?
Yes, I live in Chicago. I did live in New Orleans for a while, but right now I'm in Chicago. And I'm sorry, I'm a little distracted. I thought my AirPods would work, but
Oh, okay.
apparently they
Take
don't
care of
work.
whatever you got to do. Don't worry about it. Yeah. Do you have to
Huh, how weird.
make an adjustment?
Yes, I switched my audio up a while ago because it was being kind of it messed everything up.
No problem.
Okay. Can you hear me all right now?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Yep.
perfect. All right, there we go. Yes. I've been programming for New Orleans for a few years, like 4 or 5 years at this point, and I did live there for a while, but in the Midwest. So
Right. It's a straight shot, right? Isn't it? More or
it
less.
is, yeah.
Have you done that trip by road? No, certainly
Yes,
not. Oh,
a
you
few
have.
times. Yeah. It was
Oh,
actually one of the reasons I started programming there because I love New Orleans, so I was traveling there a lot.
who doesn't love New Orleans?
Yeah, it's true.
If I haven't met him, and if you do meet somebody who says they don't trust them.
I'm with you on that. I
Yeah.
completely agree.
So, how long is that drive?
I would say for a regular person, it's probably like 14 hours, but
Okay, so
a bit
you're
of a
doing 10
demon.
and a half hours.
Yeah, yeah, it's a
Do you
little fast.
stop? Do you typically stop? I mean, as far as like overnight, or do you go straight down?
I usually don't. I like to just get it over with. So
That's a lot. Okay.
yeah, but again, I live in the mid. I'm from Chicago, so like anything more than like 8 or 10 hours away is just like slightly less inconvenient. You have to drive to get anywhere from Chicago.
Oh,
So
yeah. No, for sure. I understand that. And see, yeah, this podcast is actually about road trips, turns out.
yeah, exactly.
Um, Well, two great cities. There are, I think there is at least one or two film festivals in your city, Chicago as well, by the way.
There
But
are, yeah.
no, New Orleans is terrific, and I'm finally able to attend this year, finally, which is such
Perfect.
a so happy about. Even though, are they doing? They're going to be doing some drive-ins,
There'll be open air cinemas. The
open air,
drive-in situation
like a
was
lot.
kind of weird.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so
Yeah,
more like. Go ahead, you
sorry, go
describe.
ahead.
Yeah,
Sorry.
right.
They limited the drive-ins in or the capacity, I believe, in the city. So they're just doing open air cinemas instead. I believe there are three around the city.
So like pop up type of in parking lot type of or lawns or whatever.
Yeah, I think it'll be a little bit more sophisticated than pop-up, for example. But yes, like for example, the Broad Theater is one of the really nice art house theaters in Mid
Okay.
City, and so they're doing a very large screen, and so it should be fun for people to attend. I'm sure
Yeah.
there'll
No.
be
No. I mean,
food and
we
drinks.
have in New York rooftop films, and they do something
Right.
aligned. I mean, they have these. Um, they set them up in various
Mhm.
different locations. I mean, so when I say pop up, it's in no way to kind of
Yeah.
say that it's like, oh, we're just aiming projector at the white wall
Machine.
behind the parking lot. It's
Yeah.
a lot more goes into it, of course. Yeah. So when you go, you're going to have a great experience. It'll be dark. You'll have great audio,
Yeah.
right?
It should be
So
fun.
yeah. How did this year go? Did it go? What were you guys dealing with since last spring, in terms of whether you're going to be able to pull this off? How much did you contacted you? You have the benefit of being in November, right? Of having 7-8 months of other festivals
Mhm.
for you guys. That must have been a big help, right? Certainly.
Yeah, I think it was. When we first got started on our slate for this year, we program primarily from submissions, and our submissions opened, just right after or excuse me, right before the pandemic kind of hit. And so we already had a lot of films coming in. I would say most programmers had already kind of signed their contracts. Everything was pretty much set in terms of like staffing and that kind of thing. And so there was definitely a conversation early on that we had that it was like, what are we thinking? Do it's 8 months out or 7 months out. Do we think that things will be better by then? And I think we were all optimistic. I mean, it feels naive at this, now here we
Well,
are, November
it's
3rd.
interesting because at this one time you thought it was so far off that maybe by then, this or that. But at the same time, 7, 8 months ago, we were also a lot more terrified.
Yeah.
We didn't know how bad this was going to get. The information we were getting was, a lot more. Not, I won't say it was in any way exaggerated, but it was definitely, because there were so many unknowns that they pushed the harder to stay home, to not touch anything, right? Stay far away from everything. So there was a definite strong response to it, which probably saved a lot of lives.
I agree with that. I think so. And I mean, it was right. South by was, I don't
Mm-hmm.
think it had even been canceled yet when we were first talking about, prospects for this year. And True False had just happened, I believe. They got in like just under the wire.
Right, right. Those
um,
are usually right back to back. Mm-hmm.
yeah, and I mean, we're traditionally in October too as a festival, and we're a bit more truncated than this year. This year's a little bit longer, and there's slightly varying times depending on whether you're in person or you're in the virtual cinema.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, all of those things were kind of, we hadn't decided, and I'm the lead features programmer, so I don't have as much impact on like the operations and everything. But I do remember speaking with our, artistic director,
Right.
and then I think like Tribeca was kind of scary having that not happen in any real meaningful way. But
They
then
ended up
I
doing
know,
some sort of like cooperative thing with a couple of the other world festivals, right?
yeah, and I mean we got jury winners and such, didn't we? I mean, films were programmed technically, but yeah.
Right.
But I know for me, like TIFF was kind of the first signal that this virtual thing could be successful, because I had my industry pass and I thought, this could be really weird. I'm at my home. Like, of course, you're missing out on all of the networking and just seeing friends and being in person in line and talking to people. But the ease of use for Eventive, at least on my end, was, I think, a big relief for a lot of filmmakers, or a lot of programmers, a lot of filmmakers. And it actually led to some, I mean, I won't say it led to a lot of good, but I will say we often like to have our filmmakers in person, doing Q&As and panels and such. And of course, everyone can't go, not, shorts filmmakers, for example, can't be there. And this year, I think we had just a lot more kind of filmmaker interaction, because everybody can basically get on a Zoom. People can be on panels. You can really talk to people in an intimate way that you don't always get the chance to in person.
That's a very good point. Yeah. Um, Tell me about the films, the programming, because I wonder. I know, like lots of filmmakers, or initially anyway, wanted to hold off, maybe have a wait and see, sort of like the festivals in that way. Should I wait for this to play out, see how this plays out before I don't want a virtual screening for the film. You had that set of mind, and then certainly, I'm sure a lot of filmmakers have changed their minds because, you're going to sit on your film for, an indefinite period at this point. And or where was the playing field, was the number of films available for festival submissions, et cetera, as robust as typical?
It wasn't the same as usual, that's for sure. We had quite a lot of short submissions. We still had over 4,000 submissions. I want to say it was just north of 4,600 submissions.
as,
Um,
as opposed to
I want to say we're usually in the like high 4,000s, low 5,000s range. It's been growing a lot in the last couple of
Features and
years.
shorts, or
Yes, it's features and shorts. I would say that this year I noticed we definitely had a lot less feature submissions than usual. So I think a lot of that was
yeah.
the numbers were, yeah, bolstered by the short submissions.
That doesn't mean you won't program as many films, but
We aren't programming quite as many as usual. I believe we're at 165 this year, which is about 50 to 60 less than usual.
that's
Um,
again a combination of shorts and features that you're saying. That,
Correct.
okay, yeah.
Correct. Yeah. And every year we have quite a mix of things because we have feature shorts, we have music videos, episodic content, a section called Cinema Reset that's VR. And so I would say everything there's a little bit less than usual, but still our our core mix of content available.
I wonder, not to go down this rabbit hole because I don't think it's probably constructive to, but as you're mentioned, we're talking about, I was wondering, I wonder if next year might be actually the much harder one to program for you guys because, so much less production this year.
Yeah, I
But,
mean,
but
I
and again, a lot of people that were holding off submitting films, maybe they'll submit them too. So
Yeah, I think it'll be a mix because I think you're right that a lot of people will have held off and now they're seeing like,
yeah,
we're probably going to be in this situation for at least another year, if not longer.
right. So
And I think though a lot of our films come from super indie filmmakers anyway, and a lot of them are getting out there and figuring out how to make it work regardless of
mhm.
the pandemic. A lot of our filmmakers are um, that we featured this year are already working on their next thing in the script level and the pre-production level. Some are in production. I mean I'm on production in two shorts right now, and so like I think a lot of people are just figuring out how to make it work. I think a lot of people are filming in other countries, which for better or for worse. I think
Mhm.
so. Of course, some countries have done a much better job of keeping things under control.
Any.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
what are your as a sidebar? Are you producer?
Yes, yeah. I'm an EP on two shorts, and one shot in South Africa a couple weeks ago, and the other shooting in LA in a few weeks. So, we're just plugging along, making it work.
Yeah, you got it. You got it.
Yeah,
The show must go on.
exactly.
Uh, well, it sounds like it. So the festival runs from the 6th, right? It's coming up in a couple of days through. So I'll post this tomorrow, so that way we get the word out. Get right on it. I was holding off today for obvious reasons, but
Yeah, that's reasonable. Yep, yep.
uh, but so it's from the 6th through.
So it's through the 22nd. The open air cinemas will be there until the 15th. And that is where in particular, there are a couple films that are geo-blocked. So there'll be some available that there only. But then the vast majority of the films will be available in the virtual cinema on Eventive through the 22nd.
Right. Okay. And right. So and there's a capacity issue, I assume, tickets for. So if you're local and you're in the New Orleans area, you'll want to kind of make
Get on
sure
it.
if you're really anxious to see one of those outdoor things, if you haven't done so already, you might act quickly about that. And because it's it's only a matter of hours. Since we kind of just made a sort of a reference to the election, did that have an impact on your scheduling the festival this year, since it's just a matter of a couple of days afterwards?
Um, I won't speak too much to the logistical part of it, because I think there were logistical considerations
Yeah.
for operations. But we definitely talked about it in our meetings, kind of like looking at all the films we had, because we narrowed it down to probably in the feature section, maybe 20 to 30 films that we're entering our last conversation with, and then really, getting it cut from there. We were thinking like, what are the films that are going to play well regardless after the election? What are the films that are going to have extra resonance if things, I'll say not go our way? I would say for the most part at our festival, we're pretty
Hmm.
progressive organization. So
Yeah.
we definitely had some conversations where we were like, what are the things that we want to highlight that people are going to see and say, if Trump is president again, here are people who are doing the work, putting in the time, and making change in their communities. And then, there are some films too that are more aimed at kind of levity and comedy, joy, so that, regardless, people have something that they can sit and say, like, this has nothing to do with the election. This has nothing to do with, COVID. It's just something I can sit with my family and watch and enjoy.
Levity. I vaguely remember that.
I know it's tough. It's tough. And it
Yeah.
is every year. Festivals tend to skew a little bit dour, I would say, content wise.
The
So we definitely made
yeah.
an
We need
effort to
this.
get some comedy.
Absolutely. So the festival is sort of the, I guess you could say, I don't know if the flagship is the right word for it, but it's the central part of the New Orleans Film Society, correct?
Mhm.
This is, I'm wondering, because of all the programs and maybe the money, the grants. I don't know if you guys do that, but you uh, um, obviously are. An infrastructure for filmmakers in the New Orleans and the outlying area of
Mhm.
Louisiana. So I have to imagine there's a significant number of filmmakers or film industry people that are at the festival.
Yes, yes. Every year, there's for sure a lot of industry people from the area. We have a real commitment to building the film community in New Orleans, in Louisiana, and in general in the American South. A lot of our programs are skewed towards those audiences, those groups. So yes, every year we have quite a few industry people come in, and this year things were a little bit different, but generally we do have a labs program. We have a producing program. There's lots of grants. We're very filmmaker oriented. We really try to
Right.
help people think outside of just New York and LA and look to their local communities and say, who can
Right.
I cast? Who can I do
Well,
below the line?
yeah. Well, it really worked in Austin, or it has been working. So, and New Orleans could really use it. I imagine it would be hard to, and I'm sure it was for a number of years. How many years is the festival going in New Orleans now?
This is 31st year.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's it's an institution, but had to be difficult where there isn't as an entrenched a film culture to get the people out to those screenings. But if you're fermenting and you're building a whole culture around it, then it gets, I guess it does become a little bit easier.
Yeah, and there's a network, there's a circuit of Southern festivals, and I
Right.
know Dan was recently on your podcast from Cucaloris, and you
I don't
know,
remember that.
yeah. Well,
Yeah.
they're one of many. Indeed, Memphis, Sidewalk, there,
Yeah.
Oxford. There's quite a few in the South that
Right.
are, I think, labeled often as regional, but I think actually it's doing a lot of work of not only enabling people from the area to say, like, I can be a filmmaker too. I don't have to live in LA to do that, but then also cultivating like a real audience of people that are seeing themselves reflected, not only because of the kinds of people we have as filmmakers that we support, but also because they're from the South and they have that state of mind, they have that perspective that isn't really represented in a lot of film around the country. It's really bi-coastal in a lot of ways. So
And film festivals have, in the last, 10, 15 years, really now or is a lot more familiar to a lot more people. There, as you kind of were touching on from a filmmaker standpoint, let's say, oh, I got to move to New York to be a filmmaker, or to Los Angeles. You don't necessarily have to, actually, because now, also the change of equipment and that, but also from an audience member's standpoint, a festival is, there's so many now, they've become so ubiquitous that
yeah.
it's not such a foreign thing, and it's like the community sometimes gets so into it. It's one of the perks of going to these, what you were saying might have once been called regional. Well, let's get away from that language. But let's say your local film festival, it's such a fun thing to interact and to meet, and they're excited to meet, folks that are coming in for the festival. They're so proud. It's a great experience. That's been
Yeah,
my
it's wonderful. I
Yeah,
mean,
that's why
what
we
is
go every year,
better?
because of those reasons. That's why we love going to festivals.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the best part, and the thing I've been missing the most, something I've complained about a lot, is really in the past, and now I'm missing, is like standing in those lines, really just like meeting people from, it could be from anywhere, and saying like, "Are you a filmmaker? Oh no, you're a dentist. Oh, you're, whatever. You're a
Well,
plumber.
I'm
You're,
a dentist, so I paid for the film you're about to see.
yeah, right. Yeah, but just meeting people from all walks of life, and it's really fun to be in kind of the industry stuff, but there's something really gratifying about seeing people in their community really supporting something, helping arts flourish. And we could probably talk endlessly about funding cuts and all the ways that on a state level and a federal level arts are kind of devalued. So when you get to be a part of something like this that is so community focused, and it's just for the benefit of the people in the area, it's really heartwarming. It's really gratifying, and I'm really proud to be a part of something like that.
Again, it's the festival. The New Orleans Film Festival runs from November 6th through the
22nd.
22nd. It's a long festival. That's good. It gives people a chance to see a lot of great films.
Mm-hmm.
And you can go to what's the website? Just New Orleans.
Yes, it is. Let me pull it, make sure I have it correctly. It's
Yeah,
neworleansfilmsociety.org.
Say it again.
neworleansfilmsociety.org.
Okay, yeah, and we'll put it at the end on a title card at the end of so people know where to go, and we'll be getting the word out about the New Orleans Film Festival. I'm going to try to see a bunch of stuff. I'm excited about it.
Please do. Let me know if you need recommendations.
Okay, afterwards we'll talk about that after we stop recording. So it's always touchy because I used to bring that up more, like, and still sometimes it comes up. I did that with Memphis, and like I was talking to, you get into the weeds a little bit. We could have talked, I guess, about some of the New Orleans titles, but you can't get to everything, and then
yeah.
all of a sudden you realize it's go to the website that you just mentioned, and you can start to read up on the films and watch trailers, and it's actually kind of the fun part is doing a lot of that, due diligence, I find. So
yeah, going in blind, I think, is honestly the best way, personally.
Yeah,
it's more fun. It replicates the programmer experience, because we often have no idea what we're about to watch. So
yeah, indeed. Well, it's been delightful meeting you, Greta.
You as well. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, it's a pleasure. Let's do it again next year, and maybe
in person.
Maybe, I don't want to jinx anything, but
Yeah,
that would be awfully nice. Maybe they'll have some sort of solutions in place by then.
Yeah, you can come enjoy the nice fall 80-degree New Orleans weather.
I would be grateful for it. Trust me.
Yeah, exactly.
Trust me. Okay, well, do we touch on everything important, or did I leave anything out? Or
yeah, I think so. I mean, I'm sorry, I'm such a nervous person. I had like so many notes just in case I forgot anything. And
no, I can. Better safe than sorry. You don't want to leave anything really. Well, did you get to the essential stuff, or?
I think so. Yeah, it was great. I mean, clearly you're experienced and know what to bring up, and
do my best. Yeah, it's been a work in progress, but all right. Well, then we'll catch up soon.
Great, thank you. I really love the podcast. I'm so happy you reached out to Clint, because now I have another great film pod to throw on my listens.
Yeah. There's a lot of great episodes. I've been doing this for quite a while, and there's a lot there. So just beware. Warning.
I love it.
Oh, good. I hope it meets your expectations.
It's been great so far. I've listened to about a dozen episodes.
Oh
in
my
the past
goodness!
Few days,
thank you. Okay,
it's been really great.
Thank you. All right. Well, let's stay in touch.
Yes, stay safe tonight.
You too.